Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Barno. You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. And, of course, joining me, as always, is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Again, I was trying to think of like a middle initial for you, and I was like, Marcus P. Greenlee doesn't work.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
But it actually kind of does. So I don't know. But Marcus Green.
It might actually be a good lawyer name.
Excuse me, I'm Marcus P. Greenlee. I may sound white, but I am quite black.
Yes, I'm an apprentice of Joseph Park Esquire.
Marcus,
the dog apprentice.
Would you ever be able to work for someone like Carlton Banks?
I might.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, especially if you play Tom Jones all the time. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Also, wouldn't mind borrowing some of them bow ties either.
Also, wouldn't mind hanging out with the sisters. Ashley, how you doing? What was the older sister's name? Like Veronica?
And Hillary.
Hillary. Not even close.
Marry me.
Oh my God. I fucking remember. I remember. Marcus, I remember watching that live. What was it, 92? I literally turned to my brother and said, why didn't he finish it? And my brother goes, he died, dumbass. And I went, oh, I liked Trevor.
Oh my God.
Dude, Trevor was like prototypical, like, wasn't he like a weatherman?
Yeah, he was a news or a weatherman. One of them. The only thing that was funnier than his actual death episode was when they did the Trevor seance because they had to get her out of her funk.
Oh, yeah. That's a great show. That's one of those shows that really did cultural awareness as well as like the zeitgeist of the 90s. Like, it brought everything into a nice, perfect little package. It wasn't too preachy, but it really did teach you a lot about a different community. And I think those are the kind of shows that stand the test of time. You don't need to be preachy to show someone a different side of the world. Like, come on. Come on. It's not that hard, y'all. Great show. Straight up, though, when we talk about 90s TV shows, Family Matters and Full House, can't do it. Step by Step either. Fuck that show.
Oh, man, you can't do Family Matters?
It's fine. Like, all right. Like, I like Carl Winslow. I love me some Cops, so, like, I'm never going to be a problem with Carl Winslow. But, like, Urkel? God, I want to throw him out a window. Stefan, on the other hand, I vibed with. 7-year-old little white dude from the suburbs vibed with a aficionado of the urban streets with cool stylings and scientific intelligence. Oh, yeah. Totally got along with that kid.
It's funny because that character might have shaved that show.
Stefan or Urkel?
No, just the Urkel character in general.
Yeah, Urkel did say that show. In fact, I think he didn't show up for like the first couple episodes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he wasn't heavily featured, and then the Did I Do That and Steve Go Home thing kind of it just took off, and then narrative. But yeah, I mean it's because I'm thinking about those transformation episodes when he turned into somebody else and did the stuff, and it's so sad to see what the freak that happened to Orlando Brown.
Which one? Who played Orlando? Who was Orlando Brown?
You remember what's his name? He was the black friend on That's So Raven.
Okay. See, I thought that's who that was, but I was like, all right, Family Matters.
Yeah, and if you remember the stuff from Family Matters, he was the kid that fought with Steve when he turned into Bruce Lee in the park.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. All right. I'm following. I don't have a lot of high reverence for a lot of 90s shows. Like Family Matters, Saved by the Bell, Step by Step. Fuck that show. Full House. Just shows I never vibed with. Like Boy Meets World, definitely.
Yeah, Improvement was in the 90s too, right?
Home Improvement was, yeah.
Home, yeah.
Yeah, like my 90s shows were, Fresh Prince, Home Improvement, Boy Meets World, and then Animorphs. All 20 episodes across 2 seasons. And
Oh
Doug. I'll,
man,
I'll I'll throw Doug in there.
it's a well, you know me, I'm all across the board, man. I did Little Animorphs, Home Improvement, Family Matters, Fresh Prince, all that stuff. Of course, the Hercules and Xena stuff, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. That
Golden era.
It really was, because it was at the apex of technology where it met technology and profitability. So you could have some really nice looking TV shows at a reasonable price at a time when the TV viewership numbers were higher than ever. So,
Yeah, I'm freaking going from VR Troopers to Power Rangers to the Masked Rider, all that stuff.
Mystic Knights. Dear no,
Dear,
no.
no.
Worst intro ever. Although I love the shit out of those armor designs. Not even gonna lie. Those are great.
That was some good stuff. The CGI was horrible, might have been an improvement, but I mean, obviously it was a product of its time. But so that stuff like the swords and the trident and the props they used was good. And they had some good actors in that show too.
They literally just said, "Hey, we got like $45 left over from the Power Rangers budget. What do you want to do with that? It's super fucking cheap to film in Ireland. Yeah, let's just do that."
That's so true. That was so Ireland.
Hey, the show only cost $43. We got 2 left over. Sweet, let's go get a McDouble. Speaking of a McDouble, I can speak. What's a McNubble? I don't want to know. So let's talk about the first kind of big story of the weekend. John Cena is reportedly going to be at WrestleMania this year. He's returning in like 2-ish weeks. I think they said, like, what do they say? The 28th. So a
Yeah,
little bit less than 2 weeks.
was that the week after Sweet Saucy 5?
Sweet Saudi 5. 5 the blood money way. He'll be on SmackDown not this Friday, but the Friday after. And apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, even though I feel like he didn't want to say it because he's not sure if it's going to be who it is, but Dave Meltzer eventually ended up saying that John Cena is currently penciled to face Elias of all people at WrestleMania. Ooh, the money match. Marcus, I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I saw it today and I'm like, what? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like Elias is one of those names. Even when he wasn't doing that much in NXT, I saw a lot of potential, and the guys got it. They had a great look and everything. They could have done a lot of cool stuff with him. But he's another name that's just not really been allowed to do much of anything except what they've allowed him to do, which is basically annoy people sonically, and not really wow in the ring because we've not really seen him in a lot of positions to wow in the ring. I think the last time he kind of got mine in the ring was when he had that match with Seth Rollins. Um, I forgot. I think it was was it for the IC strap. I think at the time.
Yeah, I think that was like
Um,
1942 they faced off with. Or at least that's what it feels like.
Eons ago, but yeah, that was the last time he really impressed. And now they have him as a face and winning some stuff, but he's a mid-range, middle of the card guy who isn't even vying for mid-card titles. So at this point, so I don't know if this is a thing with John. I mean, I would imagine he might be hand picking people he has the clout at this point, but Elias, I don't know. I mean, we saw what happened with Dango and Jericho. That didn't do anything for him. So I don't get this. Like his WrestleMania situations are like his opponents are like going downhill like Taker's match quality is when it comes to this stuff. So I don't get it. Like I respect the fact if that's what he's going for. I don't see the point. I can't trust this company to capitalize off an Elias victory over John Cena. So you know.
Meltzer implied that the idea would be that Elias would get a rub in defeat. And I want to be clear, if you're doing a hot shot angle for a big show, I don't care who wins because it's kind of irrelevant. When you want the face or the big name to go to put somebody over is when you're doing a long feud. And the last
Yeah.
time Cena was doing something like that feels like Rusev back in WrestleMania 31. That's when Cena should have put over Rusev.
Yeah.
But when you think about Rusev and you think about the fact that, think about this, John Cena hasn't really had a big WrestleMania rivalry, truly, since The Rock and at WrestleMania 29. That was fucking 7 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he was at 30. I think he was hurt.
Yeah.
31 was Rusev. 32, I think he was hurt. 33 was the mixed tag match. No. 32 was mixed tag. 33 was Taker. 34, he was hurt.
Yeah. So.
You know, so he doesn't have like last 7 years. He hasn't really been having great matches. I think the three most obvious names, if you want to really capitalize off the name brand of John Cena, the name value, is one, Roman Reigns. Like if you had Roman
Mhm.
Reigns face off with Bray Wyatt and beat him for the title before WrestleMania, and then you book two John Cena, Roman Reigns, I think that's huge. Like that's granted not caliber in terms of talent and match quality, but that's fucking Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kazuchika Okada name brand wise. And that's huge. If you keep it 10 minutes and you focus on the big spots and the spears and the F5s or the FUs and you just go that route, it could be really enjoyable. You don't need to have 40 minutes with those two. That's not the point. The other name I think that would be really, really apropos for Cena is Goldberg. Again, another 5 to 7 minute match, all power moves, all fast pace, all just, fucking slam, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of power. And yeah, people would get super psyched for that.
I was just thinking that.
The other name, I think, if you really wanted to go that route, if you wanted a more technical classic, is Daniel Bryan. So there are plenty of options out there for Cena.
Right.
But since he beat The Rock for the title, his biggest WrestleMania moment was proposing to Nikki Bella, who, oh, by the by, is pregnant with another man's baby now. So, that worked out well.
And even when he did that was like barely believable because people was like, did he do that already or did they plan that or what? It was fugazi, that whole situation.
I love that Marcus uses words of my people. I feel like it bonds us. Like, sincerely, I'm not trying to be an ass. I love when people do it, especially with my friends, because I feel like we're bonding now. You heard him. It's fugazi. It's fairy dust. Doesn't exist. I was not a big fan of Wolf of Wall Street, but goddamn, that one scene with Matthew McConaughey was worth the 2 hours I sat through that film. Just him pounding on his chest for no reason. Whoa, why? But yeah, when that proposal happened, we all thought this was a work. You're working us. This isn't real. And it turned out to be, true. It wasn't a work. They tried to have a moment that was akin to Macho and Elizabeth, but Macho and Elizabeth was so organic that I don't think you could have actually reduplicated it. Not anymore. Like that was like a big time moment, and you got to remember, Liz was universally beloved. So was Savage. Cena, I would say Cena's improved his image just because he weathered all the abuse. If you get dogged for so long, people just begrudgingly respect you because it's like, I've been giving you shit for 40 years and you still haven't called me an asshole. So like, we're good. I ate a lot of pizza. I almost burped. But with Nikki Bella, she incites the fan base and then goes, "Why are you mad at me?" Well, I don't know, Nikki. Could because you talk a lot of shit? I don't know.
If you post a video or something, it's like, how could you hate me? I don't even rub bras. Like, oh my God.
How could you even say I'm not one of the best of all time? Like, I work so hard to be mediocre. Like,
Well, Chad, you can't say she's not the best now because, well, because
The WWE said so, Marcus.
Yeah.
So who would you want to face John Cena? Another name, just throwing this one out there: Big E or Kofi? Kofi for the the brand versus brand, because Kofi, I think, very much the Ricky Steamboat of 1985 to John Cena's Hulk Hogan, and I think there would be a lot of real intrigue there, because I don't know when the last time those two ever faced off, if they've ever faced off, and I think that would be a really fun match to watch. Big E, because if you want to go in a singles route with Big E, and you really do believe in him, and to be honest, Big E has won me over as a personality. When he was with Dolph Ziggler, I was like, this dude has no charisma. He clearly does, obviously. And if you wanted to go
Yeah.
that route with Big E, Cena's the kind of name that you would, if you beat Cena at WrestleMania, that's a big fucking deal.
I mean, yeah, I mean, what's even funny about that, that the whole thing with the New Day is, and this is to their benefit, there isn't the situation with their group where, like, oh, they're planting the seed for breakup. All they have to do now is, like, basically have Kofi look like he's going to step up and then pass the torch to E the way, like, the tag team division kind of, like, the Usos and the New Day passed to him when he was going on his singles thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kofi, like, I had my time to shine and I did it. I had my mania moment. It's time for my boy to get his. And then the crowd. I think the crowd will go nuts for E stepping up against John Cena. And that mass on mass and that whole deal. And this will be a perfect time for E to step up in a way that's not shunning the whole New Day aspect, but again, like Kofi giving him that singles opportunity.
And that's the kind of thing that I do like. I wish more promotions would go with the idea of having a stable that treats itself more like a fight team in MMA, where you literally are a team, even if you're, only doing singles matches. Like, that's one of the reasons why LIJ's been around for as long as it has. Suzuki Goon's been around for what, fucking 8 years under two different iterations. Bullet Club's been around for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason why Perils Del Mal, like, they've been around for God knows how long. But when you don't treat yourself as a fad and you treat yourself as a team, as an actual fight team, it's not about having one or two guys. It's about having a core group that you can rotate in and out and change with as you need to. I think the New Day, the only thing that I think would serve the New Day any benefit would be to add a member or two, kind of increase the load. And not so much for any specific reason other than to give Xavier Woods a tag team complement that he could explore with on his own while Big E and Kofi do their single stuff.
Yeah, that's. I mean, not thinking about it, man. Like, who would you pick? Like, I wanna say Cruz, but and he might damn near need it at this point because it's all but in the ground. Um, Specifically after getting washed he got washed in the handicap match with. I mean, you saw it with Gable against Sheamus. So,
It's not good.
he's basically king of catering at this point. We talked about. I always talk about specifically you about him being literally one of the most wasted talents that they've had in the past. Feels like decade. So, and obviously Paulo will be staying on brand if you're talking about the fully black stable. But at this point.
Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting a fully black stable. So when I ask this question, I'm not setting you up for any type of, gotcha. Would you prefer
Yeah,
the
I
New
know.
Day to stay a fully black stable?
It's funny because now I'm thinking about it. They almost they almost did a segment where Titus was trying to get in. That was hilarious. Um,
No, Titus. No.
you stay getting the Dad of the Year awards. We'll do this. Um, yeah, I mean selfishly in a way, yeah,
That's
yeah,
completely fair.
because it's one of those few times where and we don't have to go. You could go through any number one of our shows talking about the McMahon's history with Black History. um, but they kind of bucked that trend away, no pun intended, um, by really weathering the storm because they literally got lumped together because they didn't have anything for those guys on their own, and they basically made the company like, wow, this is like Daniel Bryan and Zack Ryder did. We can't ignore these guys, and they've gone on to be more successful than factions that get far more acclaim. So, yeah, selfishly, I would. It's probably now talking about picking, like you said, a name. You look at guys like Leo Rush, who I don't want back on the main roster, even if it's with the New Day. That was atrocious. Um, Lashley beat it. I don't. You just no. Um, oh,
I
it's
heard
hard.
Lashley's hanging out with Maitland Ward. Have you heard about this?
What?
No, I'm kidding.
I'm about to say, taking this black thing too serious. Jesus Christ.
Lashley, what are you doing, man?
Oh my God.
I have two names for you. One is the obvious. When we think about who should join the New Day, there's only one name. Colin Delaney.
What?
5 foot nothing, 100 pounds of nothing but pasty white goodness. Tommy Dreamer's favorite jobber. Repping the ECW
Colin,
2008, Colin Delaney.
Colin Delaney.
Big
Oh,
trust. This is my evil villain cackle.
Jesus
Jokes
Christ.
aside, I think about someone who would pair well with Xavier Woods, and like you could easily go through like Cedric Alexander, Leo Rush, Titus, maybe not Titus, Apollo. There's a lot of names you could go with, but I'm gonna hop off the all black board, all black train, and board on with a different idea of what about Chad Gable? I think Xavier Woods and Chad Gable would be a hell of a tandem. Because Woods isn't all that athletic. I think what Gable lacks on the mic, Woods is one of the best talkers in the industry. He's very likable, very charming, and if you put him with a very
Yeah,
likable Chad Gable and you drop the Shorty G nonsense, because that just
yeah.
God, every time I say Shorty G, I think of remember Jesse of Jesse and Festus.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Wasn't
What
he
was
a
his
like
name?
Slam Master J?
Yeah. Jesus.
Not no, and now granted that's not what Chad Gable's gimmick is. He's just a dude who's called Shorty G, and he wears basketball shorts because he's short. But I think Chad Gable, in terms of a style, would give the New Day something completely different because he's very much, Kurt Angle 2.0 in the ring. Like he's phenomenal. I said it. I made the comparison. Fight me.
No, that really would be a good. That is an interesting pairing. And like you said, they definitely would have to because they can't just pair him the way he is now. He literally looks like the guy that didn't get picked for the dodgeball game, but got more confidence than anybody that's actually in the game. Um, and it's just bad. But yeah, I mean that I wonder what's the timetable on Wolves returning.
I don't know what he
I'm
has
thinking
with an
about it.
injury though. Like, do you remember what
I'm
happened
trying
to
to say
him?
what is it? Was it an Achilles, ACL, or something? But
Oh, I think it was an ACL. So
yeah,
about 6 to 9 months, depending on how it heals.
yeah, yeah. He's yeah, because I think Ember had an Achilles situation. So
Now,
uh
now, you brought up Ember, and if you go in a completely different route and add a woman to the stable, I think Ember Moon's perfect because she's kind of her own vibe. I don't know because like
yeah,
her whole shtick is like she's like a werewolf.
yeah.
Fine by me as long as I can wear her. Ho ho! I don't
it,
know what that means.
it'll be. It's funny because when they did the thing, well, I'm trying to see. Yeah, they did the thing when they Sasha Banks was tagging with him one night, and she was doing all the gyration and stuff with them. I don't know how it would look if Ember was doing that. Specifically, like you said, with that gimmick, she's kind of mysterious. She kind of got this whole, like you said, this wear girl vibe going on, and for her to be like W, W, that whole rotisserie thing.
I
So
think if you bring an Ember, you got to change her up just a bit, but not so different that she would lose who she is. But instead of like
yeah,
having like Ember Moon do the Biggie, gyration, like what if she's just constantly scaring Xavier Woods like throughout the entire show? Like he's like, all right, I'm gonna go find Amber and get ready for this mixed tag, and like he opens up the locker and she's just like chilling there, or like he's like walking down the hallway and she's like Spider-Manning over his head, and like every time she does this, she just freaks out and falls down and like grabs his chest.
Yeah, because I'm trying to see, did she put a bandana over her face or is that a mask? I think that's Jade that do the bandana thing now.
Well, Ember
Um,
did something like that. I do
yeah, because
remember that.
now I'm just thinking about pancake segments, and then like they're like, what the freak happened to the pancakes? And then you just see a trail that's leading up to her, and she's eating it, but she's eating it like under the mask.
So they're
She's
asking her,
feeding-
"Did you eat all the pancakes?" And she's shaking her head as you can clearly see her mouth moving.
or she just looks at them with those reddish contacts, and they just like, you know what? Don't worry about it, and they just back out of they just back out of the locker room.
She's clutching the plate of pancakes like fucking Schmeagol in Lord of the Rings. Precious, my precious. So yeah, Big E and John Cena.
Yeah, Big E and John Cena.
All of the names mentioned would be better than Elias, and that's not to disparage Elias. I think Elias is a really fun, entertaining act. He's like an EC3. He's not the most dynamic wrestler, but what he makes up for in a very monotone in-ring style, he clearly makes up with for a very bright personality. If they had built him
Yeah,
up to be on Cena's level, I think it'd be a different conversation. But right now, he's a mid-card act, and I think the thing you should be doing with Elias is looking for a tag team partner who can complement him well, because you need to bolster that tag team division.
yeah. I mean, and look for. I mean, we know the whole point of this stuff with this company is PR. That's why they did the thing with the, stuff with the Hall of Fame. Two picks in particular is because of PR.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even with all the hate Cena gets and still gets, Goldberg versus Cena, that's money.
Yeah.
That's money. That's a match we haven't gotten. They love booking. This will be another once in a lifetime thing for Cena. Like you said, it's fast paced, high impact, not going long because Cena's up there in age now, and that's not Goldberg's stick. And if Cena is in that Rock category of not really in a position where he can do a lot because contractually, in terms of all these movies he's trying to do, he can't really put himself in position to get injured because if he's the key point in a project, that stops the project. So just some quick wham bam, thank you, man. We saw what happened with Brock and Goldberg, the main match they did. They not only delivered one of the best matches on the show, they had to make up for the match that they kind of screwed the pooch on before that. So to me, that's really the only option in terms of that big money field. Because with Roman, that's cool, but we got that. With Bryan, that's another cool one, but we already seen that before. If you only got John Cena for such a limited time, he's closer to the end of his career than the beginning. You go with what we haven't seen and what'll get butts in the seats. So
Yeah, Goldberg is definitely one. Roman's another. Big E's another. Samoa Joe, forgot to mention him, would also be another. I think all four are better options than anyone else they got lined up for him. But speaking of things that are lined up, apparently AJ Styles is penciled to face off with The Undertaker.
Ugh.
It's going to be so good. I can't wait to watch Styles get pinned again at WrestleMania by Grandpa Time. Oh, this match will be so good. Can't you tell in the excitement in my voice?
Has he won yet at Mania?
I don't know, probably. Yeah, he beat Shane McMahon, I think.
Oh, joy.
I think. I could be wrong. Because that was his mom hair phase that he's still in.
Okay.
How did AJ Styles go from white meat babyface darling to ew? Like, I look at him now, I'm like, all right, I'm sure you're a good dad. As long as they're not of the LGBTQ plus. because we all know how AJ feels about certain communities. He's not Dwayne Wade, folks. But AJ Styles looks like the dude in all those fucking Lifetime movies where, you know, the 15-year-old girl's like walking home and the guy comes and goes, "Hey, sweetheart, you want to ride?" That's what AJ Styles looks like. Creep factor 5, man. Dude needs to cut his hair, shave the beard, and try to find that youthful energy he once had.
It's it's so funny because we saw the beginning stages of this with that gimmick he started in Impact. Uh, and by beginning stages, I mean just hair growth because he was sporting a different look from his obviously his phenomenal one days when he was like coming into that 2009 period back in the faction when he was with Kurt and all that. The white meat babyface styles we grew to love, and now it's different. It's L'Oreal esque. It's
No,
that shot.
maybe it's Maybelline, Marcus. Come on.
Maybe it's
Maybe he's born with it.
Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Fit right into a Sons of Anarchy episode or Mayans at this point.
I gotta catch up on my ads, man. So much content I need to catch up on.
Yeah, 'cause if you decide to catch up on Mayans and then they be like the boys is out next week.
Wait, when is the boys out?
I mean, I think it's this year. I want to say it might be coming back in April.
Because, like, for a second there, I'm like, wait, is it really next week? I just caught up on My Hero, and I was on. I just needed to watch the last episode.
Oh yeah, we talking about the kids one.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Oh, so good, so good. The stuff with Endeavor was. I mean, all of it was great.
Just fucking All Might having 0 shits. So why am I here, Endeavor?
Like, just shut up and listen. So, you started a whole bunch of crap when you was in your prime, right? It's kicking up now.
How do you be a symbol? I don't know. Peak All Might. How do you do the big thing? I don't know. Are you at all excited about our AJ Styles Undertaker match?
No, because as much as I love Taker, I'm done. Like, look, he looks great, but I know his body is like the Jeff Hardy thing. Like, he can come back looking like the Jeff Hardy from the days with him, Matt, and Lita, but we know his body's beating all to hell, and that's just physically. That's not even talking about the substances that may have aided in decaying his body. So. Undertaker, this ain't the Undertaker that was going against Batista and Edge and stuff like that. This is, like you said, Father Time as Taker, and Styles, why has slowed down. The great thing about Styles potentially going into this is that he's had a lot of time to rest, which is key for somebody like AJ Styles, who still kind of goes to the ad and whatnot. So, to me, being in a situation where Styles was seemingly, and I know he probably has no qualms about doing what he needs to do to make Taker look good. He can make anybody look good, but if you have to put Styles down on level him down on the gear, it's doing a disservice to me. Mm-hmm. And we already know that Undertaker's down several gears, so it's not really, it's the match that's, years too late. Another match that's years too late. So, God bless him, man. But Taker, man, he got to find him a hobby or something.
So, who would you rather pit with AJ Styles at WrestleMania?
I mean, obviously, Galloway's taken. You can't. It'll be a step down. I think just inserting him in that Edge and Orton scenario, we didn't really get too far deep into the him and Orton thing to be trying to reject him into that. And who could he face? I got the Rolodex, this damn roster. Because AJ Styles is on Raw. Rollins' dance card is full. We already got him and Joe. Damn, we already got him in KO too.
Well, I would go total cop out, but I would go Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. Just do an interpromotional thing and score, or bring back Kurt Angle for a match.
Oh man, I don't know. Kurt, Kurt is in a certain condition too.
Yeah, but still be better than Taker. I don't mind having Taker at WrestleMania, but you don't need to do a match with him. Just have him show up and drop people. Because let's be honest, it's not like Taker's going to have a match that's going to be enjoyable. When was the last enjoyable Undertaker match?
Exactly. Should
2002.
have ended the end of an era.
It really should have. Taker should have been like, yeah, I'm done. Because that was great.
I mean, he would have saved a streak. He would have saved himself on a concussion, and God knows however other many injuries he's racked up in these damnable matches he's had since then. It's funny talking about people that can face Styles. Had they brought him back in as like a real big thing and not kind of reinserted him back into something from his WWE history, they could have did another interpromotional thing. Speaking of stuff we haven't necessarily gotten before, between Styles and Morrison.
That would have been interesting. Because Morrison's definitely still in that peak physical fitness, too. Although it's feeling like, one, Miz was a face for like a year and a half and was all right at it. Now he's a heel again, apparently, I guess. I don't know. And it feels like they're building them up to a tag team title match at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's what they're going to do. But I guess we'll wait and see. I don't know. I know who Styles should face off with. Finn Balor. But they sent Finn Balor back to the minors. So that's not going to happen. And let's be fair. Their one match from 3 years ago was hastily put together and not good. Dude, Finn Balor. I just think about all the names they've wasted in this company. It really upsets me, truthfully. Like, goddamn. Speaking of wasted names, Sasha Banks. Come on down. You're up next on The Price is Right. So, she's apparently rumored to be in the next season of The Mandalorian. And, just asking you, how do you feel about Sasha Banks and The Mandalorian? And would you, obviously you'll watch. You were a very big fan of The Mandalorian. Do you think she would add anything to The Mandalorian that would truly make it more enjoyable?
Yeah, I think she got some swag to bring to Mandalorian. I mean, I think like I said, she's a blurred herself. For those who don't know, that's a black nerd. Shout out to the blurreds, by the way.
Shout out to Chris Turk from Scrubs for really bringing that term into the zeitgeist.
Honestly, I think she'd be happy to play. I would imagine she'd be happy to play anything they gave her. But yeah, it'll be enjoyable to watch it. Ironically, a lot of these WWE superstars aren't necessarily bad actors. I mean, we just see them in a lot of crappy acting things in terms of their stuff on screen. But I think obviously a show of high quality like The Mandalorian can give us something meaty to chew on. I mean, even if they just make her like this weird alien or something, I think she'd be down for it. So, yeah, like I said, I think she could bring some. Hopefully, they'll have her do more than they had our girl Mina do. Which I would imagine she's coming back, but I don't know. That was kind of left open-ended. The sniper bounty hunter we got.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah, I like to see her do it. I mean, last time I know they did a lot of USA crossover when it was on there.
Especially
and they still are, but yeah, the site we got Sheamus, Big Show, I think did some stuff. So people have dipped their toes into it, but in this instance, shout out to her. They're kind of doing something, outside of the ring, which to me is the only way you can really stay sane in that company, specifically if you ain't doing nothing on screen that's relevant and they already screwed the pooch with putting the title back on her when she came back. So to me, this is just a great little lateral move for her.
I'm I'm certainly optimistic to the idea of her being in the Mandalorian. I don't think she's a bad actress by any means. She really does have a presence about her that I think can truly help her stand out. But at the end of the day, it's it's not going to do anything for her WWE profile, and it's not really going to do anything to make fans more engaged with the product in the WWE sense. So this would be
Yeah.
strictly her, and not that it's a bad thing, but this is strictly her worrying about her, and maybe that's what she should be doing because it's pretty obvious that the company still isn't going to give her any real credit. You this company's not going to live up to any of its promises ever. Not with Sasha Banks, the Revival, Leo Rush. It doesn't matter who it is. The company's pretty much like, nah, dog, you're going to just do what we tell you and just, deal. And I think that's, wholly problematic. But maybe Sasha doesn't want to go to another company. Maybe she just wants to retire. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is her opportunity to say to the WWE, fuck off, and, watch me roar. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see if this rumor ends up being true. Lastly, that we have, there might be something else to mention, but apparently UFC Hall of Famer Tito Ortiz is apparently training at the WWE Performance Center, according to Dave Meltzer. He's training to be a pro wrestler and heard good things about Tito's work ethic and enthusiasm. Tito's actually on a bit of a renaissance currently. He's won a lot in the last 5 years. I think he's 5-1, 4-1. So it's not like he's done as a high level athlete. In fact, he just beat Alberto Del Rio in an MMA fight. And now he has Alberto Del Rio's WWE Championship belts. So that's pretty funny. But at 45, he still has a lot to offer if someone's coming to call for the right amount of money. And what we saw with Ken Shamrock at 56, that age ain't nothing but a number. So the idea of him being in pro wrestling at 45, starting off, I think is a very possible thing. And he's a wackadoo on the mic, but I think he has enough going on with him as a personality and as a high level performer and competitor that he could be a very easy guy to get behind and either cheer or boo. Would you be down for seeing Tito Ortiz in the WWE?
I think I've used the terminology cautiously optimistic. Ronda Rousey was one thing, and she's better at some parts, in certain instances than others. But I wasn't exactly blown away with the guy that they put against Lesnar.
Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, that that's didn't really do anything at all for me. So Tito could be interesting, but depending on what they did with him and how I mean, obviously, even though the guy spoke English, I think Tito might be better on the mic. And they don't have to immediately put him with Lesnar; they can put him with somebody else. And they got a lot of MMA geared people in the company, so they could do a lot of things. But I'm not surprised by this because they kind of opened all. I mean, I don't know if you noticed or not, but Rock's daughter is in that performance center now.
I did, but I'm not too optimistic about her making it.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. Obviously they big up on the first fourth generation thing, but this might be a Jordan son situation. We don't know.
Oh,
I hope it's not.
She are we referring to Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna push it. She's gonna eventually wrestle on Raw to become the first fourth generation ever wrestler in the history of the WWE. But the problem is we don't know enough about what's her name, Simone.
Yeah.
Simone Johnson. We don't know enough about her as an athlete to even go there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she very much reminds me of Noelle Foley in just her body type. Like, all right, she's, fit, but is she athletic? There's a difference. I don't know if she has her father's DNA in terms of the athleticism. She may have gotten her mother's. So the possibility of her coming in and being Nia Jax or Tamina or so many other female athletes in the WWE that just aren't very athletic, very possible. And the last thing I think you would want if you're her is to go into the company and metaphorically crap the bed. The Rock was never Bret Hart in the ring.
Yeah.
But everything he did, save for the sharpshooter, he did perfectly. He was very intelligent on what he could do and what he did do. Is she going to have the same self-awareness? Is she going to have the same athletic ability to make up for, a minor mistake? Because one of the things that The Rock did so well was dazzle people with his movements. People don't really realize that, but like his kip-ups, the way he slid across the ring when he did the people's elbow, the way he strutted, danced, moved, like everything about him was fluid. You usually saw movement like that in a guy like an AJ Styles or Ricky Steamboat, not in a 275-pound heavyweight. So is she going to have the same kind of dexterity that her father did? And these are all questions we don't know the answer to. And we, to jump to the conclusion of, she's going to be terrible or she's going to be fantastic, is in itself wholly problematic because we don't know. Charlotte Flair was a state champion or at least highly leveled athletic cheerleader, dancer, and gymnast. Like she came from an athletic background.
Mm-hmm.
What's Simone's? I don't know. Maybe others do. I'm not saying she wasn't like she may have been like the best volleyball player in Miami. I don't, or she may have been the best Greco-Roman female wrestler out of Hawaii. I don't know. I don't even know when she went to high school.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, all she could have was those good Samoan genetics, but she could turn into something. I mean, look at, what they did with. I mean, obviously Bianca Belair is got an extensive history in terms of what she's done in sports, track and field and stuff like that. But yeah, she could be the one to kind of break the mold because not to knock them, but Tamina and Nia Jax ain't exactly blown things out of the water.
Oh, we gonna knock them. They suck. Tamina is only in the company because of who her daddy was, and Nia Jax is only in the company because she fits a few quotas and body types that the WWE likes to promote so that they can feel to be inclusive. For the same reasons why Darren Young stuck around for so long, and for why Titus O'Neil sticks around for so long, and why Zack Ryder sticks around for so long. Some guys and gals are just there for the optics. Zack Ryder's the WWE's biggest fan. Why would you let him go? He's always promoting new toys for you for free. Nia Jax fills in a bunch of certain criteria that other women on the roster can't or won't or don't. Titus O'Neil, like we said, he's there because he's a great American citizen. If he wasn't like an award-winning father, literally, who knows if he'd even still have a job? He's a great guy for the WWE to promote. Like, look at who we have, the best dads. We literally have award-winning fathers working for us. Look how awesome we are as a company. Optics, man. And it's not to say that Titus O'Neil doesn't have anything, to bring to the table, but there are reasons guys get held on who fundamentally aren't very good at their jobs. Nia Jax, Tamina, and Zack Ryder, fucking Titus O'Neil. So who knows? Maybe Simone will be in that category. Maybe she'll be in the Charlotte Flair category. Well, she'll be better than people expected. Maybe she'll be in the Saul Guerrero category, where she will be part of NXT for a little while, but then she'll just leave. Or maybe she'll be the Noelle Foley and just quit after a few weeks, and nobody will know where she went. Who knows? I'm pulling for her though.
Yeah, same here.
I'm just not going to pretend that it's going to be an easy transition. Like, don't be foolish. The thing with father, son, daughter, mom combos in sports is there's never really a consistency.
Yeah.
Marcus, who would be, in your opinion, the biggest baseball player of the 1990s? Do you have like a guess, a hunch?
Gonna need a lob here.
Ken Griffey Jr., a.k.a. Junior Griffey. Smooth swing, could play defense, quick as a hiccup, could put the ball 500 feet into the stands. Second generation pro. His father, Ken Griffey Ken Griffey Sr., also played Major League Baseball. His son finished with, like a stupid amount of home runs. I think he's like in the top 10 all time, like 650 plus home runs. 12, 13, 14,000 RBIs. Bunch of fucking hits. Like the dude's done a lot of work. This is what I'm saying. Maybe not 13,000 RBIs. That seems like a lot. More like 1,300 RBIs. But he's done the work, Marcus. His father, on the other hand, maybe had 100 home runs. Maybe had 600 RBIs. Maybe had, 1,000 hits. His son was exponentially better. Michael Jordan and his sons. One's really good. The other didn't make it to the league. Think about Archie Manning. He was an okay football player. His sons were two of the best of the 2000s. You never see a father or a son ever on the same level. You just don't. John Stockton, Hall of Famer. David Stockton can't even make it in the NBA. So this idea of Bron Jr. and Dwayne Wade's kid, they're probably not going to be as good as their dads. That's just how it goes historically.
Yeah, it's funny because like it's almost referencing that line that AJ dropped on the Bellas when they're like, talent isn't sexually transmitted.
Yeah, that's still not great insult.
Not always genetically either. Like certain stuff, like templates and certain things, also transfer over. But yeah, that whole, he's gonna be better than his dad. You can't know that. LeBron is a unique blend. Kobe was a unique blend. And his daughter, God rest both of their souls, she was showing shades of her dad, but we didn't know. She was just, kind of growing into that. But we see that a lot. I mean, what do you think about Hardaway Jr.?
Well, all right. Which there's a few Hardaways. Are we talking about Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Yeah.
I think he's a damn good player. I think, he'll probably never be an all-star. But this is a cat, not for $20 million, but this is a cat who could be a starter on an NBA championship team. Playing next to Luka Doncic, I think, is going to make him even better. But his dad was one of the 10 best point guards in the early 90s. A genuine all-star. Tim's going to make an all-star game if he ever goes to a really bad team, puts up crazy numbers, and like 9 people get hurt. That's about it. So unless Tim Hardaway starts fucking Tanya Harding all these individuals in front of him, he'll never make an all-star game. But, that's kind of how it goes. Like Sharif O'Neal won't be as good as his dad. I can't think of one example where the son or daughter was better than their parents. Like shit, Reggie Miller even says that his sister was better than he was.
Yeah, I mean, look at Curtis Axel.
I'd rather not. Like, I want to pretend that Curtis Axel's really good. I wanna. Like, think about, all right, so as good as The Fiend is, so let's really get into the nuts and bolts of this discussion. As good as The Fiend is, Marcus, would you say The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, would you say he's a good wrestler? Like, in between the ropes, do you think if he went 25 minutes with, fucking Taichi, do you think he could have a good match with Taichi?
No.
He's a great personality, but he's not a good wrestler. Bray Wyatt is very unathletic. He's got no dexterity. He's got no real sense of how to move his feet. And it's pretty obvious because he's always kind of bumbling around. And that's part of the issue. Like, when you think of his father, he fucking Mike Rotundo's one of the better workers of his generation. So, I think people need to, taper expectations. Charlotte Flair's not better than her father either. Like let's be very clear about that. She's fine, but she lacks a lot that her father has. So the one name that I think would be interesting to see how he turns out is Cody Hall. Because I think Cody Hall is in a position where he could be fundamentally better than his father. And I would even go out on a limb and say Dustin and Cody are better workers than their father. I don't know if they're on the same level, but they're probably the closest example I could show you as to wrestlers that are close to being as good, if not better than their fathers at something. That's it. Like, it's a short list.
It's got to be like a very weird position to be in. That's a lot of pressure too. And one name that's out there, and I wish this guy the best of luck too, because he's really in an impossible situation.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Yeah, half of it's obviously not his fault, but for what he's gonna try to do, it is on him. Is David Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, God bless the kid. He wants to wrestle, and this is his dream, but he's under a very heavy shadow. And he wants to be he's the spitting image, and he wants to basically just, kind of be his dad all over again. And in this business with what happened, man, that's pressure I wouldn't wish on anybody, But, like I said, I wish him the best of luck because this is something he wants to do. And obviously you want to honor your dad, and you can't take that away from him because that was his dad regardless of what happened. But, man, the association with everything and him basically wanting to do something that will remind everybody readily of that, it's a weird position.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to kind of work through. I hope guys like Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Jericho are able to, guide him into this. But like the thing is, like saying that, like he's not a young man anymore. He's in his mid-20s at the very least. At a certain point, he either needs to, commit or not. But this whole hemming and hawing, like, come on, do it or don't. Like, I heard he was supposed to be working with Chavo Guerrero. I don't know if that's true. But if he does end up, kind of going this route, I wish him the best. But I don't know what you do about that because on one hand, Tamina Snuka is used her father's name, and he wasn't exactly the most model of people. Beat his wife.
Yeah.
Allegedly, possibly killed his mistress. So I don't know. It's been 13 years. Maybe he could rock the Benoit name again. I don't know. Maybe he could pronounce it Benoit. David Benoit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with, young Miss Maivia, young Miss Johnson. I wish her well, but my expectations are not super high. Marcus, is there anything else that has caught your attention on the interwebs that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, I know we pre-talked about a certain aspect of this individual that you'll, I'm sure, get into in the column later or whatever. But did you feel? I mean, how did you feel about Jordan Grace? Finally knocking off the lovely Taya, who did a great job as champion. Did you feel about her finally getting strapped?
Well, if she's committed to the Knockouts division, I think she's a great champion because she's really, we've talked about this before about how the female athletes of pro wrestling are starting to really eclipse the past generation because they're bringing in better athletes, multi-sports personalities. They're upping the true quality of talents in a way that we've never seen before. The height of athletic capabilities in 2002 was Victoria and Trish Stratus, who looked really good in bikinis because they were fitness models. That was it. Jordan Grace is a legitimate bodybuilder, or powerlifter, I'm sorry. Tessa Blanchard, stellar talent in the ring. You think of Taya Valkyrie, who is super athletic and a powerlifter in her own right. You're getting more and more talent who have deep sports backgrounds, and it's translating very well to pro wrestling because they have that athleticism, the ability to move their feet well, their dexterity, hand-eye coordination, foot-eye coordination, if you will. all of that is on a higher level because of the talent they're bringing in. So I think someone like a Jordan Grace is exactly what the world of pro wrestling needs, because she represents the next version of female athleticism. Legitimate athletes in the female divisions. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, and even I mean, even when you talking about, piggyback off what you just said, when it comes to the lifting thing and those competitive backgrounds, it translates really good in wrestling, because it's not a lot of what they do specifically when it comes to their arsenals is not just power, it's technique.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be a quality lifter if you don't know how to lift. And so, and that's so much of what goes on in the ring. I think a lot of times people just think you can just get in there and house people. Like, obviously Brock is tossing people around, but he's doing it. He's still doing it in a way that's you know coordinated to what goes on between that dance that goes on in the ring. But Jordan, like you said, grip strength, um, stuff of that nature, with move sets, lifting people, how you supposed to lift them and hold them and stuff like that. It sets them apart and makes them completely different animals. And yeah, I mean, it's weird because with Tessa, I mean, they're two top champions right now, all women, and they are in that, like you said, that more athletic category. And I think what's great about Impact, I don't think those two women get those opportunities, well, specifically the one Tessa is getting right now, if they're not in Impact. So hopefully they are as appreciative of Impact as I'm sure the company has been for them. So
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Maybe Shikara. That's
yeah,
about it, though. And let's be honest, Shikara is, they're not on the same level as Impact in terms of notoriety, name brand, or availability. So you're dead on with that. You're right. You're. I don't know how much weightlifting you did back in the day. I was kind of a gym freak because I'm 3'12". I needed some kind of competitive advantage, so I hit the weight room. I was there every day almost. Not every day, because you have to take a day in between most sets, so that way your body can heal and build. But I had a 315 bench press. I had a fucking 550 squat. I could leg press fucking 1,500 pounds. I was a fucking freak, but I had to be, because I had the I had the reach length of an ant. There were hobbits like with a bigger reach length than me, so it's like I needed something. So the idea of muscle control, it's a very real thing in wrestling. That's why a lot of wrestlers lift a lot of weights, and why a lot of people who lift weights wrestled, because it's a lot of the same techniques. It's one thing to be able to move weight. It's a completely different thing than knowing how to. Technique is so important in both, weightlifting and pro wrestling. That's why a lot of great wrestlers are weightlifters, and why a lot of great weightlifters were wrestlers. So Jordan Grace is in a great place. That's partly why Scott Steiner was so good for so long, until he fucked up his back. So I think she's going to be a great champion. She's very, she's 23, I think. So she's very much thinks like a 23-year-old, fucking thinks they know everything, like every other goddamn early 20-year-old in the goddamn universe. So she says a lot of dumb shit, but it's her opinion. She has a right to think it, and I have the right to be like, no, you're fucking wrong. But I still think she's a heck of a hand, and I think she's the right choice to go forward. My only complaint is that they should have done a knockouts title match, main event match between Tessa and Jordan Grace before they ever put Tessa in the men's division. So, that's what I would like to have seen, is Jordan and Tessa in a fucking 30-minute banger. But I don't get all the things I want in life, so whatever. What about you? You down with the Jordan?
yeah, yeah. We feel like we've been on and off calling it for a while. It's kind of been an evasive thing for her since she's come to the roster. But now she can hopefully elevate like Ty did, because I very much had to kind of get on board with Ty. I think I was having a hard time transitioning from her War Queen stuff into the more Hollywood version when she came back.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started to see the genius in it, and I mean, it's 100% her. and she kills in the whole Johnny Bravo thing, and then adding her in with some Rosemary stuff has been brilliant. So kudos to her on that. But yeah, Jordan, man, this has been coming for a while, so it's gonna be interesting seeing what she does. And obviously, I would imagine some kind of way it'll eventually we might get something between her and Tessa. We don't know how long this thing is gonna last with Tessa, but they've kept it interesting so far with the not hard hard to kill but not hard to find scenario. So between Ace Austin and Callahan's always out there, so they keeping a lot of stuff interesting in the flow, specifically in the tag division, and Austin is doing his thing. So yeah, the brand is doing some good stuff right now, even if they don't necessarily get the proper recognition for it. So
Anything else kind of pique your interest?
no, that was about it. Unless something came through on the wild last minute.
Not that I've seen. So tomorrow, Swisher and I are going to film 2 podcasts back to back. We're going to talk Chuck season 3 as well as XFL week 2. So tune in for those. We're also going to be on Tuesday. Marcus and I are talking the NWA Power and all other types of wrestling news that may be coming up between now and then. Wednesday, Zach and I are back for Making an Impact. Zach also informed me today that he is now engaged to his girlfriend.
Nice.
She did not ask me for his hand. I'm a bit miffed. Not gonna lie.
Chad's gonna be at that red reception. Mean mugging.
I'm gonna be old grandma facing the whole thing. Just, you're not good enough for him. Thursday, Marcus and I are on our own. No Zach this week. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but I'm sure we can figure out something for Thursday. And then Friday, we should be back to our regular scheduled Chuck podcast for season 4. Hurrah, huzzah. So with all that being said, you can find us on Twitter at NERDCORP, on Instagram at Real Nerd Corp, on the website at realnerdcorp.com, on Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com, or by downloading the Podbean app to your mobile device today and searching on the app at Real Nerd Corp. We're also on iTunes at Nerd Corp. Marcus, you can be found at Paradox Kid, PARADOXKID.
That is me.
I already gave you all mine. Marcus, you can also be found on your other podcast at The True Penny Show at TRUEPENNYSHOW on Twitter, at True Penny Show.
Yes, sir.
I think that's everything. Twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground, YouTube.com/Wrestling Underground. We're done for the night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. And as always, watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.